Hi everyone, this is Daniel Scranton, and I'm going to do something I don't normally do right now, which is to channel the Zetas. These are the little gray ETs that were featured in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and were also featured in many people's experiences. They might call abduction experiences. I think it's more appropriate to call them visitations. And um, yeah, I I'll tell you that the Zetas have always come through me as a collective. They do have a sort of hive mind mentality, or I should say they did. They're all now in the non-physical. Um, they have transitioned out of their physical bodies, each of them that were once here, that first landed on Earth back in the 40s. And of course, there was a downed ship in Roswell, New Mexico that got a lot of people's interest in it. And I'll just let them tell the whole story of who they are, why they came, and what the end result of that has been for all of us, because we're all in this together. And those of us who participated in the hybrid program, the hybrid ET human program, and I include myself when I say that, um, we are a part of it too. And the end result being the hybrids that we will all meet someday, for those of us who haven't already met them. Okay. Here I go, the Zetas, as they are called. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. We are the Zetas. We are your brothers and sisters. We come to you now speaking through this channeler as a collective, a non physical collective consciousness. But we were quite literally once like you. We lived on a parallel planet Earth in the same dimension. And we were also faced with the same issues that you are faced with on your Earth, on your version of planet Earth, in your reality. We were facing lots of wars, lots of chaos, violence, people mistreating one another. And we also had access to great technologies. We decided that the solution to our problems on our version of Earth was to choose to be less emotional, to suppress the emotion that caused the violence, that caused all of the wars. And we used technology to do that. We went down a path that was very mind-oriented. And with our intellectual capacity and our use of technology, we figured out a way to implant a device in people that would suppress their emotions, that would allow us to live in greater harmony. Because without those negative emotions, no one would be acting out of anger, rage, fear, even loneliness. All of the emotions that trigger lots of negative action there on your Earth when not dealt with appropriately. Of course, we realize now there are better ways to help people with those emotions. We are in many ways a cautionary tale to all of you. We do not want you to go down the same path we went down, even though it eventually led to the hybrid races, the hybrid children, and the coming together of the best of both worlds. Races of beings that are both very smart, intellectually smart, and also emotionally brilliant, emotionally sensitive, empathic. And so we want to tell you our tale. The use of implants was entirely voluntary. We did not force them on anyone. However, those who had the implants were able to excel in whatever endeavor they took part in. They were able to go further because the focus on what it was they were interested in was so powerful. The ones with the implants were able to not only excel, but also reap the benefits of how adept they were becoming at their chosen field, their chosen trade, and so they became the wealthy citizens. And so, little by little, most of the humans elected to get the implants. Now, you might be wondering, what about love? What about that emotion? Beings who did decide to take the implant still had a draw, a feeling of unity with others that looked a lot like love. Didn't necessarily feel the same, but to the outside observer, they were in loving relationships with families. So, of course, once a person made that decision to take the implant, they also figured they would still be able to have all of the positive emotions. However, it did become very difficult to relate to others who didn't think the way they did. So again, you're seeing that on this version of Earth right now, where when someone disagrees with you politically or on a topic that you really care about, you find it very hard to relate to them. Another end result of us focusing so much on technology and not on feelings is that we grew further and further from our planet, our version of Earth. We saw it as a place where we could gather natural resources, all the metals and everything else we needed in order to create beautiful cities, ships that could take us to other worlds. We didn't see the value in nature. We didn't connect to our Mother Earth. And because our intellectual capacity was growing so rapidly, so did our brains. Our heads became bigger. We were so interested intellectually in different topics, different subjects, that we didn't care so much about physical activity either. So you could see how over time our limbs would become smaller, even shorter. We did not grow over time in our overall height like your race has there on your Earth. We became shorter. We also became less interested in food. We were able to feed ourselves with synthetic vitamins, minerals, proteins. everything about what we were doing was bad for our bodies, and we didn't see it. We didn't see what was inevitable coming, which is that we were unable to reproduce. We became toxic physically, but also because the heads got bigger and the bodies got smaller, the females were unable to give birth the natural way. And so, of course, we had the technology for test tube babies. However, those started to fail because of the toxicity of our eggs and sperm. So our ability to reproduce became less and less. Our world became uninhabitable, and we could see the end of our race. We could see how the path we were on would continue until we could not reproduce any longer. We began to live on our ships, and we began to search throughout the entire galaxy and beyond for a solution, for help with our situation of not being able to reproduce and create offspring that would perpetuate our race. We became quite desperate. One of our scientists, who later on became quite famous, had an idea, however. She came up with the idea of traveling back in time. We could go back and we could tell ourselves in the past not to suppress the emotions, not to use the implants, but to find other ways to be able to end wars, violence, and suffering emotionally. However, that was not a success. Time travel was not something that we ever mastered, but we could travel to parallel Earths. We found your parallel Earth, and we began traveling there in the 1940s. We knew that we could possibly use your genetic material, which was not as compromised as ours, to mix together sperm and eggs and our genetic materials to create newborns, ones who would still have our genes and our DNA involved, but that would also have parents on your worlds, on your Earth. It was the best we could do. It was the best solution we could come up with, and so we began to visit your Earth quite a bit. Sometimes we took our ships for efficiency's sake. Sometimes we would just travel using the device created by the scientist who wanted to time travel. And we would go right into one of your bedrooms where you were sleeping. At first, we thought we could perform the extractions without waking any of you. But soon we realized that upon awakening, you became quite scared, would move around quite a bit, and would thwart our efforts. Therefore, we developed something that would temporarily paralyze a person who was undergoing the extraction, so that you wouldn't be harmed and we could still get what we needed. We realize now how wrong all of this was. We realize now how much trauma we caused in those people who awakened and who were paralyzed, who could not move, who did not know what was happening. Now, some of you are aware that you have pre-birth contracts. Everyone who donated to the hybridization program had one of these pre-birth agreements, one of these contracts to help save our race from extinction. So there was an agreement. However, we still understand the fear that was experienced by those who saw these strange beings poking and prodding them as they woke up from a deep sleep. And we are sorry. We did not understand emotion at that point. We came to understand your emotions better once the hybrid babies started to be born. And they needed care. They needed to be soothed when they were crying, when they grew into toddlerhood. Their emotions also were strange and foreign to us. We often try to logic them out of their emotions unsuccessfully. And so we started learning from watching you. We watched you parent your children. We watched how you did it. We learned from you, believe it or not. Earth has many wonderful attributes, wonderful human beings on your planet. Do not discount yourselves or think that you have nothing to share with extraterrestrial beings, because you have everything to share with the physical ETs who you will meet soon enough. But getting back to the hybrids now, they grew up on ships. Some of them now are full adults. And are part of the Sassani race. Some are part of the Yahyel race. There are some other races that you do not have names for yet, but you soon will. The reason the races are different has to do with the timing of their birth, the technology being used, the amount of DNA that we were able to use from ourselves, as it is very complicated. The percentages of human versus Zeta. You know now that we are not from Zeta Reticuli, that star cluster, but that is the name you have for us, and so we use it. But we are humans from Earth who mutated and who looked so strange to you and so scary. Of course, even if you saw human beings standing over you as you woke up in the middle of the night, you'd be terrified. We hope to help you to make peace with your experiences that were unpleasant by helping you to recognize how much good you did while you were asleep, while you were donating to the hybridization program, which was a complete success. The merging of your emotional DNA with our intellectual DNA created highly advanced races, which of course knew how to create spaceships and how to engage in space travel. Therefore, most of the ships you see in the skies are your hybrid children. And of course, there are others whose stories with planet Earth and humans go much further back than the 1940s. There are Pleiadians and Lyrians and Sirians and many others in your skies as well, but it is mostly the Yahyel race. And what you will find is that when you do meet the Yahyel, they will be compatible with you for mating as well. And there will be another hybrid race created. So, we are very happy with the results of the program. We are sorry that we met you all who did meet us under such terrible circumstances. And we want you all to know that your emotions are beautiful, powerful. They help you to create, they help you to learn, they help you to experience oneness, connection. The love that you have access to is far more powerful than the love we could access once we took on the implants. And while you have wonderful pieces of technology to help you to better your lives in all the ways that they do, use them appropriately. Balance yourselves with Mother Earth and Mother Nature and your technology. While it may seem like a good idea to implant things into your body so that you can have better vision or so that you can hear better, run faster. We're not talking about hearing aids now or LASIK surgery. We're talking about real metal pieces of technology that will come along and be offered to you as solutions to some of your issues. You have done wonderful things with artificial heart, other ways of using technology to get yourselves into a better place. But don't go too far. Celebrate your emotions. Connect with your planet and all that nature has to offer. And know that your hybrid children will be meeting with you soon. They will have lots to share with you, including their gratitude, their appreciation. And you will see how connected you already are to beings from the skies, from the ships. They will then help you to ready yourselves for contact with Pleiadians, Lyrans, Syrians, Andromedans, and others. They will help you to enter into the galactic community of which you most certainly belong. And of course, they will help you to travel. To travel on ships, to travel through portals. They have an understanding of your planet that you do not have yet. Many, many good things to come for humanity because you volunteered to help us, your brothers and sisters from another world, from a parallel Earth. We are available to be channeled by any of you. We want to help. We have insights. We have that broad perspective of having seen so much. And we also invite you all to channel the Yahyel, the Sassani, your hybrid children. Look for those connections with beings from above. And know that there is a tremendous amount of love that awaits you as you do connect and you do get a sense of the heroic acts that you performed to co-create these beautiful beings. While we did learn from watching all of you and while we were able to foster a race of beings that could then perpetuate itself without the help of human beings, we did have those broken down bodies from the parallel Earth that could only be kept alive for so long, long enough to see this program be completed and be a complete success. But we did all move on from our physical bodies. And a few have reincarnated that were a part of that Zeta race that came and initiated the program. Most of us are in the non-physical here now as a collective, working as guides for some people as well. And that is our story. And we hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you see that the happy ending is just the beginning, and that there is a continuation to the story upon first contact with the Yahyel. We are the Zetas. We are your brothers and sisters, and we love you. Okay, everybody, I hope that wasn't too out there for some of you. I can't remember when I first learned about all this stuff, where I was, what the circumstances were. It definitely, Bashar had a lot to do with my education about this, but the Zetas, they came through me when I was trying to channel Pleiadian collectives, so it was very unexpected that when I started channeling the Zetas, and I didn't channel them for long, but obviously I still can if I put my attention on them and go in the channeling state. So that's what happens. Once you make a connection, you always have it. Anyway, I hope you like that, and I hope this video is able to upload onto YouTube without too much trouble. Namaste. Blessings to you and yours. I love you. Thank you for watching. And if you are watching me for the very first time, I usually channel the Arcturian Council, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and check them out because they have a lot of really good teachings to offer us. Okay, bye for now, everybody.